Gaby Golden, welcome to Surgite.
Thank you so much for having me. This is an honor for me to be here.
Yeah. Oh, it's my honor for sure. I am grateful that you took time out of your day and out of vacation week, April vacation here in Massachusetts, to come and do this episode with me. So
it is a joy. It is always a joy, and I was actually looking forward to having the opportunity. So yeah, I'm ready.
All right, great. Yeah. You are the first female guest on this podcast.
That's right.
And to go along with that, you're also the first class mom that Demetra and I ever interacted with. And when John entered the school in 4th grade, and it seemed like you had an answer for everything. We didn't really know who you were, but it was always, G Golden. The answer like homework, pictures, where lost and found items are. You're always chiming in. As soon as somebody asked a question, it was Gaby Golden. And one day I finally came across you, and I was like, "Are you Gaby Golden?" And you're like, "I am." I was like, "Thank you for everything." So right now, officially, thank you for all the work that you do.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's a joy. Throughout the years, I feel like Sparhawk has been such a blessing for me and my family that every opportunity I have to give something back to the community and the school, I don't want to miss it. And I feel like I've been in every situation. The boys don't write down their homework, or we lost something around the school and then we can't find it. And it's nice to know that there's people who's, helping you figuring things out. So I have been there, and I really appreciate, I think it's kind of like part of the community. Everybody wants to help each other. Yeah. And so I feel like I'm just one more of the group, and we'll help each other. Yeah.
I have that same feeling that I appreciate this school, and I try to help where I can, and showing up for things that, there have been a lot of work weekends that your husband Jim puts on and has dads or anybody volunteer and come move logs or disassemble the classrooms that were in the barn years ago. And it's such a great experience just helping.
Yeah.
Coming here, seeing the people that are part of this school and just helping out. I mean, it's a great group. And, so I think we have that same feeling.
Absolutely.
Where it's just like, whatever we could do to make this place thrive even more. It's the reason why I'm doing these episodes, to just get that word out and, show people the quality of the faculty, the quality of the people on the board, the quality of just the school, and how much parents love sending their kids here and coming and spending time here. The programs that they have for family enrichment and development.
Yes.
The school is a blessing.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for it.
Yes, I feel the same way. And you can just look around and see how everybody is doing beyond the call of duty. They're always trying to do more, help more. And it's kind of natural. It's kind of like part of being grateful to the school, the community, and it's kind of like a circle that keeps nurturing that sense of gratitude and helping each other. So yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
So I was hoping that you could share some of your background.
Sure.
Not your whole life story, but maybe just some things that that shed some light on how you ended up here with your husband Jim and your boys.
Absolutely. I was born in Quito, Ecuador, and I lived there all my life until the end of college. So I did some traveling around. I had exchange program during college. I went to BU for a year. When I was in college, I was doing getting an undergrad in economics, and so that's what that was the first time I came to the Boston area, and I really loved the city. I thought it was so nice, such a nice combination of like the European architecture, and the city itself was small enough so that I could feel comfortable going
Yeah.
around and knowing that I wasn't going to get lost. And
Yeah.
I really liked the fact that there was a lot of young people, very lively environment, and so many different things you can do and see. So I was thinking to myself, I definitely would love to come back. And then after college, I worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers in Ecuador for a year. I did some auditing and then also a little bit of consulting. I realized that was, it's, the work itself wasn't hard. I think the industry is a little bit very competitive. And
yeah.
so I think I had a sense of what the industry was about, and I wasn't really attracted to it that much after that experience. But I still wanted to get a master's degree. So I went to Harvard and got a master's degree in economics. And I also did a little finance at the same time. And during the last semester, I met Jim. And it was, the way we met, it was actually, I used to live at Bay Ridge, which is, it was a place for young women who were doing college or grad studies in kind of like a dorm. And so it was only one time during the year that it was open to the public and men could come in, and it was a talk about dating. And so both attended the talk. We didn't meet that night, but then we met through friends who met that night and then started going out. So we were invited to come along, and that's how we met. And after that...
Was that an Opus Dei event?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you, if that's...
It was related.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was in Ecuador, I didn't mention that. I forgot. I went to school of Opus Dei for girls in Ecuador.
Okay.
So I've known the work for many years,
Yeah.
since elementary school.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
all the way up through high
to
school.
high school. Yes.
Then you went to BU, and then you went to Harvard. So
Yeah. And then
you got a pretty good education in those schools.
yes. So I met Jim, and I think a lot of people would say it was love at first sight. Like we knew after talking to each other a little bit that both of us had the same values and very similar priorities in life. And the very foundation of it was the faith and Catholic faith. And so to me, it was amazing to finally I found somebody who took his faith so seriously, but at the same time he was an accomplished professional and a good-looking man, and I was like, wow. So this was the rest is history. So we dated we didn't have a long dating period because at that point I had to go back to Ecuador, and so I went back to Ecuador. He came to Ecuador, met my family. We kept in touch and we're dating, but kind of like long distance. And after a few months, I came back. And I think at that point we realized like we either get married or what's going to happen. So we got married shortly after. Yeah.
Wow. So it was, what was the time period between
It was
meeting
11 months, about 11 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Just if you know, you know.
You
right?
know. I mean, why do you want to wait, right? Like, it's interesting how things have changed nowadays. But I kind of feel like if you know and if your priorities are similar and both are mature enough to take on the adventure of forming a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
no
the
tension.
value alignment goes so far. I mean, it's very, very important.
Yes.
And a lot of people overlook that.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like because we're from such different background,
Yeah.
Like he's the youngest of 9, but I only had 2 sisters. I'm the middle one. So it was so different. And then I grew up in Ecuador, completely different culture, completely different way of seeing life, a very laid back culture, very family oriented. And I mean, the U.S. is a little bit more advanced and in many ways, and
A little more frenetic and
right,
stressed.
So it's very different. Yes.
But can you describe? Actually, I want to hear a little bit more about Ecuador and what you said. It was a small town.
Well, Quito is the capital city.
Not a small town.
Not
Okay.
a small town, but the second largest city in the country. It's Ecuador is a beautiful country, and if you ever get the opportunity, you should go. It has 3 different regions: the coast, which is the beach, and it's always nice and hot, like the summer.
Wow.
Eternal summer. And then the jungle or the Amazonas region, which is similar to the coast, high temperature, very humid, and the rainforest is there. So it's a lot of vegetation and animals. And then the highlands, which are right on the Andes, and that's where Quito is. So in this part of Ecuador, the weather changes throughout the day. So it's cold in the morning, very warm in midday, and then cold in the evening. And it varies from maybe low 50s to could reach to up to high 70s or 80s, and then back down to low 50s again. But it's pretty pleasant and nice.
Is there ever like cold season?
Not really. Okay. It's usually the same throughout the year.
Because it is very close to the equator, right?
Yes. Well, if you keep going, like Quito is kind of like in a valley surrounded by volcanoes and mountains.
Oh, wow.
And most of the cities along that region are that way. Like they're located in the lower parts.
They're kind of protected.
Yes. But at the same time, like if you go climb a volcano, as you go up, it gets colder and the vegetation changes. So you can definitely find colder places than what I was just explaining. But Ecuador is a very beautiful country. We have, as I just said, a lot of like the culture is around the family. Family that stay together for many generations. You can see like the grandparents living with the sons and daughters and the grandchildren, and many families live very close by. So there is a lot of family gatherings, and also very laid back country in the sense that it could be very annoying, but for our culture, it's kind of like part of who we are. Like we're not punctual.
So, at least you're right up front with that. Yeah.
So if you say, let's meet at 3 p.m., it means like, well, 3:15, 3:20, 3:30. Okay, it's still good. So that's something that I had to readjust when I came here.
Yeah, that can be misinterpreted here.
Yeah. And I learned to be punctual because that's also when now I see it from the kind of like the perspective of it's also a way to show respect to the other person. Like everybody has his own or her own schedule, and just out of respect and consideration, want to be punctual.
Right.
Yeah. But
I think there's a lot of value in the kind of the softer interpretation of time.
Right.
As long as everybody's on the same page, it seems like it can work pretty well.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Nobody takes it personal.
The only problem is when there's different expectations and understanding.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, all right, we got up to the point where you and Jim got married. Where did you get married?
Braintree.
In Braintree, okay.
Yeah. Since we decided to have the wedding here in the U.S., we just try to arrange everything around Jim's parish. And that was the parish that he was baptized, first communion, all the sacraments.
Yeah, wow.
And so, the priests knew the family really well. They were very helpful, very accommodating.
Yeah.
And it worked out well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And then, raising young boys, you have
Four.
four boys, and they all go to this school.
Yes, that's right.
So I did hear Jim tell his version of the story of when you guys committed to being part of the school. Jim committed to being a teacher, and that required kind of a big jump for you guys. Can you explain that?
Sure. So
from your perspective.
I remember one day Jim said, I was talking to my friend Bob Sylvain, and he said that there's this opportunity. There's a new school that's going to be starting soon. And he proposed that if I want to be part of it, we could go to Maryland to the high school and spend a year there. I will learn or get as much training as possible how to be a teacher, and then we'll come back and I'll be a teacher at this school. And so when I remember looking at him and thinking like, oh my goodness, what are we doing here? What is this?
Yeah, like what? That's not what his profession was at the time, correct?
Correct. And
he was in finance,
yes,
working at a bank.
Yep. And he was like getting promotions. It was hard work. I have to admit, it was tough.
Yeah.
It was the type of work that would keep him away from home many hours. Mm-hmm. And when he got home, like he would be good, make the effort to still have the energy to spend time with the boys and do things together, but it was hard.
Yeah.
And so I could understand where he was coming from. Like he wanted something meaningful in his life, and also that was going to allow him to spend more time with his family. And so I remember thinking, okay, this is going to be a difficult change, because until that point we had everything was so in place, like very predictable,
established.
Yes, exactly. And this was going to be something absolutely new to us. We didn't know anyone there, and a completely different career. But at the same time, I think that's where faith is very important, like especially if you share the same values and faith with your spouse. Because I remember saying, all right, so if this is what God wants, let's pray about it. And if this is his plan, we'll see it, and then things will fall in place and we'll do it. And so I remember praying and saying, I don't think this is the plan.
Am I right? Am I right? This is not it, right?
This sounds crazy.
Looking for some confirmation here.
Yeah. But, the thing is, the more I prayed about it, and I as I told you, like I could see this will help the family. Like at the end of the day, this is beneficial to everybody. And not only that, but then I was thinking about the school. Like, well, if we help with this new school for boys, I was thinking about my experience back in Ecuador, like school of the work, with the same values and mission. And I was thinking, that is exactly what I want for my boys. I kind of felt like, all right, if it's up to us to help the mission, let's do it.
Yeah. And you definitely weren't going to get that at Braintree Public Schools.
Not at all. No.
Speaking of that, were the boys slated to kind of go to the public schools, or did you have plans to try to?
So up until that point, John Paul was going to public school. So he went to preschool, and then kindergarten, all in public schools. And the experience there was, so Braintree is still kind of like a small town compared to others. And, it wasn't bad. It was okay. I found out many years later, like maybe a few years ago, John Paul, who's now 14, told me there was one day at school when the teacher, I was talking with a classmate about God, and we were sharing our ideas and talking about God. And she came over and said, we do not talk about God at school. You can do that at home, but we don't do it here. And he felt like that was so strange because at home, God is, we talk about, we pray, we talk about God, It's so much part of who we are that to him was shocking.
Yeah, it is shocking, really.
And
I don't think that...
he kind of felt like he did something wrong.
That's the public line, but, students are able to speak freely about God, I believe, legally.
Yeah.
But for sure, there are going to be people that try to stamp it out. And that's a shame.
It is. So I remember thinking like, all right, I don't think I like that. And I don't want that for my boys. Like we should be able, like that's the most important thing. Faith, God, that's the one thing in our lives that we should nurture and encourage. So the experience itself wasn't too bad. Like I think up until that age, you still, schools are not, you know what I mean? Like you're not going to find things that are kind of weird or awkward at that point. It was okay. Yeah. And then we moved to Maryland, and John Paul went to the public schools in Maryland. So that was kind of like an eye-opening experience to me.
Okay.
So the town where we were living was very wealthy. It was very close to the school, the Heights. Mm-hmm. And I started noticing like we are very different from a lot of these people. And the way, you can tell by the family structure, like 2 dads, 2 moms, like the way people dress or look, like they're very different from what we were used to. And so I was a little bit more concerned at that point. I always try to volunteer at school activities because I wanted to be present for my boys, but also I wanted to know what's going on. Like,
that's how you find stuff out. You show up to volunteer.
Yes.
That's the other benefit of participating is you get to know people and hear about what's happening.
Right. Talk to the other parents, talk to the teacher. And so I did realize like we didn't share the same values with most of those families. And I started thinking about like, what are we going to do when we get back? John Paul still had 1 more year to go to school before he was able to come to Sparhawk. So I started thinking about homeschooling at that point. But at the same time, homeschooling can be scary. Like you always doubt yourself. Like, am I going to be able to do it? I don't know anything about teaching. And, like you think you need all the experience,
especially
all the tools.
The first time, right?
Yes.
I mean, the second or third year probably gets a little bit easier because you've done it. But just starting off.
You don't know where to start.
Yeah,
like,
that's
how
intimidating.
do I do this? And like teaching a lot of like English is not my first language. It's not my native language. So for me, it was even more complicated to think about how I was going to do it.
Yeah. So how is what happened?
So then, so we stayed that year in Maryland. We met a lot of wonderful people. It was a wonderful experience. And then we came back. And I think at that point, I was still not sure, but also because I still had my 2 younger boys were still little and they were still with me all the time. So I said, all right, let's do this 1 more year with public schools. And then I think it was 2019 when the school shut down. Mm-hmm. And I think that was providential because at that point I said, it's now or never. And so I decided I'm just going to homeschool all the boys. And it's going to be hard, but I'm going to take one day at a time, and I'm going to try to, concentrate on the most important things first, and then keep adding things up
Learn
little by little.
Yeah.
Right. So we started with math, grammar, and writing for all the boys. I remember at the beginning it was kind of crazy. Everybody was doing his own thing, and I was like, okay, boys, pay attention. This is what we're doing today.
Yeah.
But eventually we all got into it.
Yeah.
You need to establish routines and kind of like have a plan for every day. It does require a little bit of planning and making sure you have something already structured for the next day so that when the time comes, you're ready to go. So that was a learning curve. But then John Paul came to Sparhawk. At that point, Jim had already been teaching here for 1 year.
Yeah.
And it was a wonderful experience. I think one of the things I really appreciate about the school and the people, the teachers, is how they are able to see the potential in each boy. And I don't think my homeschooling was not perfect, and my boys were not they weren't like the best students in the class when they came here. They had enough to make it to the level, third grade. Some of the boys are very quick learners, and so some of them were very ready for it. And then there are other ones, as any child. Every child has his or her own way of learning and at different pace. So there were, to my boys who weren't at that level yet, but the school still said, you know what? He's trying and he's working hard. So he's going to go to third grade, and you're going to help him at home. And we're going to give him all the help we can at school. And he's going to catch up, and he's going to be good. Good to go.
That's awesome.
And
really worked with you.
Yes. They worked with me. They saw the potential. Yes. And they work with you along the way. Like, these are the things he needs to work on. And if you can help him, great. And then nowadays, they even help you find tutors. Like if you don't feel comfortable enough doing it, there are resources. You can, these are the people that can help you. These are the things he needs to work on. And I think that's unique about Sparhawk and the approach to teaching. The small size of the school allows the teacher to get to know each boy individually. And they know them. They know their strengths. They know what they need to work on. And they can push them a little bit more with what they're good at, and then help them with all the things that they are kind of weak or need more work. So I throughout the years, I've talked to a lot of moms that have homeschooled, and now their boys are coming to Sparhawk, and they feel like, I don't know, I kind of feel like my son is not as good as the other boys in the class, but and I tell them my story, like, don't worry, because if I did it exactly, and the the teachers are amazing. They are willing to help. So my experience with public schools ended up kind of like at second grade, and for the rest of the boys, they didn't even go to the public schools.
Yeah.
So I cannot compare how the other schools do during those years of formation. However, I have heard so many moms say, like, there are 30 children in the class, and they're expecting everybody to reach this level. And if one is below it, then there's a problem with him. It's not like we need to work to get him there. It's more like he's the problem. He's not getting there.
Yeah.
So he needs...
Yeah, it's very one size fits all.
Exactly.
It's kind of a institutional, industrialized education. And, I think circumstances have kind of brought it there to a certain extent, just because it is kind of a machine.
Yeah.
And it's impersonal, and parents really don't have much of a say, and
No.
it's become this. Public schools have become this thing. And my two older girls are public school children, and Demetra's been the one that's dealt with most of that. But the prospect of having John go through public school, I didn't like that, because he's a quieter boy.
Yeah.
And he likes playing sports, but he often, isn't the star. Mm-hmm. And I think that when the opportunity came up for Sparhawk through the strange circumstances surrounding mm-hmm. my relationship with Raymond Legrand and him starting the school years before, and it just kind of came up on our radar, and it was, if anything, it was a big sign from God that was something that we should do. And so we were thinking, that's perfect timing.
Yeah.
So he entered fourth grade, and I think he's really done well here. Mm-hmm. My girls, I was trying to get Rosemary, who's now in 10th grade. Mm-hmm. I tried to get her to look at some of the schools, Montrose mm-hmm. and Trivium. But I think she didn't really want to change things up.
Yeah.
And so, so it's just John, and it's a good thing too, because we live close to, our high school. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of our time ends up being spent on the road coming down here. And so we have to try what we can to make it up to Rosemary, who's always at home, and she's doing great on the track team, and she has after school activities. So we kind of all end up getting at home around 6:00. It's a long day. Yeah. And you guys drive far too.
We do. Yeah.
So
it's about an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me how exhausting that is.
I know exactly what you mean. It's a hectic schedule. It's waking up early and then heading home late, having dinner, starting homework super late, and then mm-hmm. going to bed. Yeah, very late, and then starting all over again. Yeah.
It's like I'm so glad there's a February vacation and an April vacation.
I totally agree.
It's like you really need to breathe,
Yeah, recover all those hours that you haven't been sleeping. Yeah. But
it's still worth it, right?
Absolutely.
So, what about the high school? I mean, do you have, let's say, any thoughts on being that pilot program? I mean, it's kind of nerve-wracking, and if you talk to other people, they want kind of more of a solid footing for their kids' high school mm-hmm. career. Now, I totally believe in Sparhawk and everything that they do, and everything I've seen has justified that belief. Yeah. But also, my kid's not being the pilot of a high school. So, I mean, you're so brave, you and Jim, and I think it's wonderful, because somebody mm-hmm. has to go through it. Yeah. But still,
I go back to my experience when I was in school. And to me, that was the foundation of who I am. I feel like Opus Dei has a very particular way of approaching education. And to me, it's so complete, because they understand that a human person is body, soul, and mind. So they tackle all three in the way they approach education. So that's what I got when I was in the School of the Work, when I was in Ecuador. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I would never change that experience for anything. Because I knew I was learning, academically, but I always had a teacher to talk to, like a mentor. who was not my mom or my dad. But at the same time, I knew she, in this case, it was all female personnel. So she knew me, and I trust her. And I knew that my parents trust them. I knew that was a person who, if I had any questions and I didn't really want to go to my mom or dad, I could go to that person or the priest. And they reinforced everything that I was learning at home: faith, values, friendship, everything.
Yeah.
And so it's the same as before Sparhawk even existed. When Jim told me, like, this is an adventure, this is what we could be part of, I was like, all right, kind of sounds crazy, but I trust in the plan because I think this is God's plan. And if I can help make it happen for my boys and give them the opportunity that I had, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And Jim and I have talked about like the high school experience for our boys. I've talked to many of the parents because I like talking to people and I like to hear what they think. And so there's definitely areas that Sparhawk, it's very different from the other schools. One is it's not co-ed. So if a particular family is looking for that experience, it's definitely not here. The other one is it's not big. This school is kind of small, and the high school is very small right now. So if you want your son to have an experience like with a lot of, a big high school, this is not for that family either. And there are benefits of that, but there's also some problems with that. And, I kind of feel like it depends on the family and the boy. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to be successful because there are multiple cases of boys who have thrived in those schools. But I feel if, in our particular case, our priority is a place where we knew our sons are going to have a solid foundation in terms of their faith, but at the same time having a very complete academic formation. So in all the different areas, but even beyond that, here they are acquiring like the physical, not only through sports, but also craftsmanship. Like knowing how to use your hands, your mind, coordination, use tools.
Yeah, I think
you're not gonna find.
I think that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you have to think with your hands,
Yes.
and to figure out how things work. And it just, yes, we are a composite, right, of
Absolutely.
mind, body, and soul. So, teaching how to do things has gone by the wayside on normal public school education. And yeah, I just remember cooking class and shop class in my middle school in Andover, Massachusetts. Those were like the classes I really look forward to doing because you get there and it was just kind of fun, but you did things.
Yeah.
And so it was cooking, there was sewing, and there was shop. And all three of those I had for, I think, all 3 years of my middle school. I'm not sure, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. But it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
They had a room full of all these electric ovens, and they had groups of kids making stuff.
Wow.
You had a whole room full of sewing machines, and you learned how to use that to repair clothing or make clothing. And then the whole shop was, all sorts of fun gadgets and things that were dangerous.
Yeah.
But still, like, that was an important part of my education, I think, because I do a lot with my hands. I work with my hands now as an engineer. I build things. I go to a shop, and but like that's where I first learned it. And so I think it's like kind of crazy that they've just let go of that. Like what?
And also when you think about it, like particularly for boys,
Yeah.
like you need to give them the tools and like the knowledge of how to be self-sufficient. Like one day down the road, they're going to have wives and sons, or, maybe they have a different vocation, but for most of them, they need to be ready to work in the house and fix things and be self-sufficient and use that God-given authority and power to protect and provide for the family.
Yeah, not to be helpless and just have to call for someone to come in and do it for them.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. And like even that's something the school does the best. It's like they provide so many different opportunities. Like craftsmanship is one, and maybe the one that they do it so regularly. But the other one is going on camping excursions or field trips. And they allow the boys to be out in the woods, in the wild, and learn how to provide for themselves. Like, they're like, they also have these new, I think it was like a club that helped them learn skills for survival.
Right.
And so that's something that unless you are part of like the Boy Scout or some particular outdoors group, you don't learn anymore at school. But it's so important especially for boys and men. And it's fun too. I was going to say that.
But still, it's definitely an empowering thing to learn, right? It's like you can do this. Yes. It's not something that is exclusive to people who, are given that gift or job. It's like teaching them there's really not much you can't do if you want to, and you show them by giving them the tools and giving them some instruction and say, like, you can build a fire.
Absolutely.
You can bake a pie,
Yes.
like you name it. And I think there's definitely a lot there.
Absolutely. Imagine like the boy feeling like, like I've been entrusted with this tool and I'm learning how to use it. It's kind of like, as you said, like it's empowering, and it's an affirmation to their self-confidence too. Like they know they can use that, and through all the guidance provided by the teachers, they feel perfectly capable of doing it and successfully. And so in their minds, that whole process and learning experience is so enriching that you wouldn't be able to provide the same experience just being in the classroom.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a completely different thing, right?
Yeah.
And so you can't, if you don't get that somewhere, it's going to be a lack. It's going to be a lack in your person if you don't have that aspect that has been helped along in there. I mean, some people are self-motivating, right? So they're going to go and take apart things, or they're going to go try things, or their parents are, but in general, just being exposed to that. I mean, there's so many things that just having that one experience gives you the confidence to go
Absolutely.
forward.
Another thing is, it's so funny when you see like moms coming to the school, like, dropping off something the boy forgot, or they came to pick up a boy that has a doctor's appointment, like in the middle of the day, especially during recess, when the boys are outside and having the sword fight, you can see the mom's face like, oh, they're gonna get hurt. But the teachers are right there.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. The boys need that experience. They need to go a little rough, but they're not gonna get hurt. The teacher is there. He knows what's going on. He's able to control the chaos. But I think like that's such a normal reaction in a woman who's like, oh, you're gonna get hurt. Don't do that. Stop it. Like, so I think that's something unique about Sparhawk. Having no male faculty allows the boys to be able to be boys.
Yeah.
Go out there and be adventurous and do the things that boys need to do. They need to climb trees. They need to fight with sticks and swords. They need to get dirty and muddy and, you know, and
explore.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And it's so in their nature that in other schools is so restricted and kind of like removed. But here they're actually encouraged to develop and get the most out of it.
Yeah.
That's something you're never going to find, I don't think, in the same level as in Sparhawk.
It's definitely here in spades, for sure.
Yeah.
There's always an interesting story now and then. You know, a kid lost his shoe
Yes.
in the brook or something.
Or during this, the winter, like the snowstorms, like a boot got buried, and the boy comes to reception. I lost my boot, and now, well, that's okay. You know, we'll find it and
Find it in the spring.
Yes, but it's not a big deal. You know, boys learn how to also cope with these moments of kind of like stress, and they could be frustrated, but they
realize
know, like,
it's not that bad.
It's not a big deal. You were
Life
having
will
fun.
go on.
Yeah,
It'll be okay.
And exactly. So just wear your other shoes, and you know you'll be fine, and head back to the classroom, and everything is okay. I just love that. I love how my boys are very simple and like easygoing in that way. Like they get dirty, they get muddy, and like they know it's okay. Well, you know, get home, change, is fine. Of course, for mothers, you know, like for us, it's like the hard work. We need to wash the muddy shoes and the pants, and like, you know, the oldest lost his gloves, the youngest lost his hat, but it's part of
and teaching them the responsibility of, you know, you're in charge of keeping track of that.
Exactly.
You're in charge of finding your own stuff from the lost and found.
Yeah.
And you develop that over time. That's an important aspect of
and they learn along the way. At the beginning, they're not good at it, and it's all on the moms and dads to come and see and look for them things. But it's a reminder: please don't forget to go check the lost and found today. You are missing your shoe or whatever it is, your water bottle. And they do it. They go, and you know, it's just a learning process.
And I guess that makes me think of, you know, they do have, I mean, all the boys wear collared shirts and a tie.
Right.
But then they have to change for gym class or
Yes.
athletics. So I remember as a boy going to school, even in middle school, like we just did gym in our regular school clothes because their school clothes weren't that nice. Mm-hmm. And so we just did that. Nobody changed. In high school, we did end up changing at that point because we had a full locker room. But the fact that these young boys do that, then they're also kind of too young to keep track of all the things that they have. So
absolutely,
that's where the learning comes in.
Exactly,
where it's another aspect of education of just responsibility for your own personal items, and that takes years.
That takes years. Absolutely.
Tell me, like 7th grade is when it clicks, because I think John in 6th grade is still. Leaving all sorts of things behind, but he's getting better.
Yeah, same for Benjamin. Yeah. Now, heading back to where we started, the high school. Mm-hmm. Another element of Sparhawk that is very different from other schools is technology. And up to 8th grade, technology is pretty much zero. Like we don't have computers here.
I love that. I love that so much.
Me too. And even phones. Phones are not allowed on campus. And I think that is so important. It allows the boy to be able to really reconnect with books, textbooks, and do the process of thinking, like reading, and then processing that in your head, and then translating that into a writing essay or so all those skills that they need to perform with their brains without technology, it's kind of like taken completely away when they have a computer in front of them and all they do is just Google or press a few buttons and then the answer comes and shows up, and it's not the same.
No,
the brain has not developed all those different processes of analyzing, taking the main idea. So technology is important and they need to learn how to use it, but at the proper time. And I think high school is the moment when they need to get ready for college. And so they start using computers at home to write essays, to do some research. But it has been introduced after all these years of just doing it all through the old-fashioned way.
Old-fashioned way,
Exactly.
right.
Yes.
The analog way.
Yeah.
So do those boys who now have to use computers, are they like thumping on it with their fingers? They can't figure out how to get the machine to work. I mean, because they haven't been educated in it for the last 7-8 years.
No, the truth is...
They probably figure it out real fast.
Absolutely. Right? The truth is, there's always a home. There's always technology at home. But the thing that at home, with the guidance of parents, is used correctly in the proper way. Mm-hmm. It's not misused, which could happen at school or even at home with the computer that belongs to the school or is the tool that is used for school. So at home is a different story. Then the parents are the ones who have to guide the boys through how to use technology. And so for our boys, we do share a computer. We have one computer for the home, and it's in a place, in the family room where everybody can access to it. And if they need to, they want to find this one video that a friend mentioned, it was very funny. So they go type in, and so they have the opportunity to do it at home. Yeah. And so once they get to 9th grade, they're pretty much ready. They know how to work, how it works. It's another thing is like young people are so, it's amazing how intuitive it is for them just to use any technology. Yeah. It's so easy and it becomes so natural. Like they are able to figure it out. Yeah. Now going back again to the high school experience.
I love how you're keeping our conversation on track. Yeah. This is perfect.
Another thing I was thinking about is the spiritual part of the experience at Sparhawk, and that is access to the sacraments. Mm-hmm. And I think it all depends on what of a priority it is for you as a parent to help your son have access to the sacraments. So for us, that is the top priority. We want our boys to know that the most important being in their life is God. And going to Mass is the center and the summit of their day. So if that is how we feel at home, that's the way they should feel at school. Going to Mass is their priority. The day at school, kind of like it's around that moment. They work their day in the morning, offering their work, their studies, but it all comes together when they go to Mass and they're able to finally see Jesus and receive him and spend that time with him one-on-one. And I think it's how you bring this idea and proposal to your sons. Like the beautiful thing about the school is that they respect the boy's freedom. If the boy wants to go to Mass, they're more than welcome to do it. If they prefer to go to silent reading, that's an option too. Mm-hmm. But as I said, for us, this is the moment. This is like when you go to bed, you think of Jesus, tomorrow I'll be there for you. And so they start the day, like that, like with their morning offering. And that includes, today I'll see you in Mass and I'll be there. And so for us, Mass is the most important thing in our lives, and having the opportunity for our boys to be able to go to Mass daily, something that you're not going to find anywhere. Mm-hmm. Anywhere. And it's so accessible, like too accessible. Like it's kind of like amazing how easy it is to come to Mass every day. And parents are invited too,
Yeah. And I go myself. In fact, I was going to say that I think this school is the reason why I'm growing a lot more in my faith. It's the access to the sacrament, even when you're coming to pick up your kid. You know, you can just walk in, you know, slowly have a few minutes before you rush off to the rest of the day.
Yes.
And or in drop off. I've done both, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's also encouraged me to do to go to daily mass as often as I can. So it wasn't my practice before. I started doing it as an experiment last Lent in 2025. And I was able to find a place to go. And I wouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it except for the school is like, hey, you know what's really important?
Yeah.
You know, going to mass.
Exactly.
and all the people that I've met, the parents here, a lot of them do that as well. And I, you know, talk to them about what they do on Saturday. They go to mass on Saturday, and I'm not quite, I would say, like fully there and everything, but it's bringing me along, and it feels like it's a really great development in my life, and I have the school to thank and the people here at the school. So it's just such a great thing to have such a great positive influence and to show the boys how important it is, to show the parents how important it is.
Yes.
And of course, you're going to get people that, you know, that don't want it to be important or don't think it's important. And, you know, that's, like you said, it's an individual choice.
Yeah.
But,
and also, you know, the school is not just for Catholic people. It's open to anyone who appreciates and values the Catholic formation. And I think it is such a powerful witness to a lot of these families who have not had the opportunity to see or understand what the Catholic Church is all about and the faith, that when they come here, we've had families that have entered into the church.
wow.
You know, it's so, or boys who are not Catholic but still go to mass every day. But it's because you are, it's ingrained in us. We were created as spiritual beings.
Yeah.
And we unconsciously or consciously understand and acknowledge that there is something very special about this. And, you know, for the families who are not Catholic but still share the values, it's just that the priority of or having things in the right priority and sharing the same vision of what they want to give to their boys, like the formation they want to give them and the environment they want their boys to be while they're at school. The teachers are amazing role models.
Definitely.
And that's another thing in mentorship. Yeah. I know that you can still find mentorship in other schools, but it's not the same.
Yeah, not every school.
All right. So not every school, but some schools. It's not the same when you have mentors that are not on the same page, that they have their own philosophy. They approach life in a different way. Well, here you have people who are on your side and kind of like we're all on the same page. This is what we do. The school, one of the things that the school is always very clear about is the parents are the primary people, educators who are upbringing their children. The school is here to support and provide with all the other resources to ensure that the boys are gonna be successful in life. And one of those resources is the teachers. Like, they are so amazing. Like, I all of them, I always hear my boys saying, you know, this teacher, did you see him? Like, he is so strong. He did this, he did that. Or like this other teacher.
Yeah.
He, you know, they talk with admiration.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to find like real role models for children and especially boys. Like, if we look at the movies and like the Hollywood stars, it's all, we don't want that.
Yeah.
So having like a very real role model right in front of you, and seeing all those features in their personalities that they want to imitate, they like, and it's amazing. And they kind of look after them. And
Yeah, and that's, now that you mention that, I'm thinking of my two older girls, and no, there were it was the opposite of teachers that they looked up to. It was almost like just not that, right? But it is amazing here that you have all these great some young men, some older men, but they all have a certain quality, a certain character that's just, wow, and it's impressive.
It is.
And I think the boys all kind of sense that, even though they might be, upset at, getting a bad grade or having to do work or like sweep the sidewalk because they got in trouble. But it's like, you can respect them. They do. And, and that's really, really important.
Yeah. So I think that, like we've mentioned so many different things that make Sparhawk unique. You're not going to be able to find that anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it is true that right now the high school is very small. It's just the 9th grade. And next year will be the 10th and 9th grade. But it's growing.
For sure.
Yeah. And another thing is, the way I see it is, this is kind of like a treasure that is here. And whoever wants to come and, benefit from it, they're welcome to. And whoever thinks that this is not what they're looking for, it's not a problem. They can go find something else. But I feel like it's God, it's kind of like, this is God's work. And the families who should be here are going to be here. The families who shouldn't be here are not going to be here. We just need to trust him. And that's the way I see it. And another thing is, like, parents, my suggestion would be, before you make the decision whether or not you want to keep or bring your boys to high school, pray about it. Put in your head, what are the priorities? What kind of education I want for my boy? And what do I want to provide for them? And, we mentioned all these different things that make Sparhawk unique. And if that's what you're looking for, then this is the place.
Yeah.
If you are looking for something different, then it's not here. And
I'm sure it's going to be hard for a lot of people too, because there are some things that are legitimately important. Like, being on a ball team, football, baseball, whatever, like, that's kind of, some people, I mean, that's a huge part of their high school experience, was being part of a football team or being in a marching band or something that, like, does require a large group of people to be involved in one specific thing. And I think that there is true value in doing that and having that, if that's something that you've kind of worked for and developed, and you really want to see that through the high school. So I think that things like that are going to be, make difficult decisions. People would otherwise want to be here.
That's true.
Then, I'm sure that there are other factors too, but, there's, as far as the academics, I don't hesitate at all thinking that there's going to be delivery on
absolutely.
Expectations of the academic qualities of the school, and being able to, be able to take entrance exams and SATs and, so all those things I think are going to be perfectly, in excellent order.
I totally agree with you. I think the academics is a given.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of the hallmarks of the schools of Opus Dei. Like, they always provide quality in terms of the academics.
Yeah. So then there's the, the social and the athletic aspects of it. I'd like to see, even I'll put my hand up as a volunteer, like a drama program, maybe in collaboration with another school if need be to get enough people. But that would be awesome to have have like a place to have like a real theater and a stage. I mean, I think there's a, developing little program here.
Yes.
And I think it's great. The boys definitely love it. And I think, the education at Sparhawk that kind of encourages memorization, right? Really remembering long poems and things like that. It lends itself to, knowing your lines and being able to focus on actually acting instead of focusing on how do I memorize my lines. Like
absolutely.
The boys here usually have that down pretty well.
Yeah.
But anyway, theater and things like that. But I think, like you say, it's a matter of priorities. And if your top 2 or 3 priorities are met and they're hard to find anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing is, I can understand how sometimes it could be hard to envision what it will look like once we have a proper high school building and a gym. Those are already, there's a plan. Right? Exactly. There's a plan for it. They are already in progress. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
And, but nonetheless, the school, the board of directors are all working on it actively. So it's going to come down the road. It might take a couple of years. But I kind of feel like it's sometimes it requires faith. It's kind of like trusting that that's going to come. But right now, we already have the most important part of it.
The critical aspects are unparalleled.
Yeah. And along the new building for the high school, there is a plan for a gym. And I think that will be a place where they're going to want to have kind of like a multifunctional.
So it can have a stage as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yes. Yeah. So it's going to be wonderful. I mean, I think, it's kind of like when going back to before the school was here, like thinking like, how is this going to work out? Like I couldn't see or imagine how it would be. But St. Jose Maria used to say, dream and your dreams will fall short. It's going to be 1,000 times better than we can imagine. Wow. It's going to be amazing. But it requires faith. And it's a process. But it's also beautiful and nice to see how there's a big community, like, behind it. Like, we're all part of it. We're all supporting the process and the progress of this plan. And I think as the boys, especially like 6th grade, our boys keep going up the ladder, the grades, I think that's when most of the momentum is going to come. Because I kind of feel like at that point, the boys and the families are very much in tune with the school, the mission, and what it's all about. So,
it's certainly that 6th grade currently.
It's a very robust class. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the big wave that'll make the high school official.
Yes.
If you can service at least half of that, or even like as a big grade to go through.
Yeah.
It's looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's a good place to end. I think we covered a lot of great topics, and I thank you so much for this.
It's a pleasure. Yeah.
Can we end with a Hail Mary?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and in the hour of our death. Amen.
Amen. Holy Mary, seat of wisdom,
pray for us.
Amen. Excellent. Amen.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun.
All right, Gabby. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll do it again.
Yes, let's do it again.